Well, it is spring, and a beautiful spring day it is at the clearing, which means wildflower season. And we will start with one of my absolute favorites. This is blue cohosh. You also, some people say cohosh. I learned it as cohosh. I'm not sure which one's correct. And not particularly showy in bloom, although they're interesting. You know, pretty little clusters of yellowish green flowers. Again, not showy, but pretty. But these will turn into clusters of blueberries, blue fruits later in the season that stay with the plant for months, right through winter sometimes. So it's actually showier in fruit than it is in flower, but these are interesting. And it has wonderful foliage. It stays this nice all season long. In my opinion, it's a wonderful garden perennial for that lightly shaded garden. I have quite a few at home. This patch, I remember admiring this when I first came to the clearing in 1999, and it's been nice ever since. I think they can last many, 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 many years. A long-lived perennial. So blue cohosh in full bloom. Spring is also fern season up here, and here's a nice patch of one of our native ferns, Ostrich Fern. This tall, can get up to even 4 feet tall sometimes, typically 3 or so. And this tall, kind of vase-shaped growth habit. Apparently at some point somebody thought an individual frond, these individual groups are called fronds, somebody thought it looked like an ostrich feather, so that's where it got the name. And it's one of the ferns that can spread. It forms a clump, but a bunch of these might be connected through an underground stem called a rhizome. And sometimes with an older one, you get a big, almost like a pineapple looking structure from which the fronds emanate. And that's also a rhizome. But it runs like this, fills in an area, very delicate, edible. Fiddleheads, when they first come up, many ferns are edible. But this, if you want a fern for a lightly shaded area that will kind of fill in on its own, ostrich fern's a good one, if you don't mind how tall it gets. Ostrich fern. Underneath the fern is one of our several native violets here at the clearing. This is called Downy yellow violet. Pretty yellow flower, clearly a violet. Taller than the other violets. It can get up to 8 inches tall or so. But it's the one common one up here that has yellow flowers. The one common violet with yellow flowers. Downy yellow violet. Here's another violet, and it's the most common one. It's just called wood violet with that kind of purplish blue flower, lower growing than the downy yellow violet. And this grows everywhere. It's also Wisconsin's state flower, the wood violet. Smaller rounded leaf, again purple blue flowers, very pretty. Can actually become, if you're a fussy lawn owner, which I am not, but it can run into your lawn and become, in some people's opinion, a weed. A weed depends on the plant, the place, the person, but all these small round leaves in this mowed area, this gets mowed a few times a year, are also wood violets. This beauty down here with this wonderful foliage is Canada wild ginger. These large, kind of velvety feeling leaves with a surprise in the spring underneath. See if I can find one. Yeah, there's one. They flower right along the ground, and there's one of the flowers. They lay on or close to the ground, and ants pollinate them. And the ants also help spread it. It's one of the plants where the ants collect the seed, which has a jelly-like coating around it that they take back to the nest to feed their young. So the young eat that jelly-like coating, but not the seed. The seed gets dispersed, thrown out. Wild ginger does that. Trilliums do that. Bloodroot does that. I think most violets do that. It's a mechanism of seed dispersal that isn't particularly common, but it's how Canada wild ginger spread. It can also form a clump by itself by rhizomes, like the ostrich fern did. But it also gets planted by, and here ants are right here. Maybe these are the ants that will someday spread this seed. Canada wild ginger. Here's another one of our several native ferns at the clearing. This little beauty is called Bulblet Fern, B-U-L-B-L-E-T. It gets the name because it can form little bulb-like structures underneath the fronds that can drop to the ground and form a new fern. It also produces spores like other ferns, but this is one of the bulblet forming ferns. Only gets maybe 6-8 inches tall. Beautiful, delicate thing. Forms little patches because it has rhizomes that spread the plant. So this could also be connected right here. But it's a dandy little fern that most people don't know. I don't know that it's very available commercially, like things like Ostrich Fern and Maidenhair Fern and Lady Fern and some of those, but it really is a nice little fern for lightly shaded areas. Bulblet Fern. Here we are on the path to the schoolhouse, and here's a white baneberry in full bloom. This little cluster of white flowers, which is very fragrant. You got to get your nose right in it, but it smells kind of citrusy, really nice fragrance. Another woodland perennial with great foliage that makes a nice garden plant. And these flowers will turn into a white, fruity, berry-like structure about the size of a small pea in a cluster, loose cluster, on pretty red stems called pedicels. The stem of a berry is called a pedicel. And the berries are poisonous. I mean, they're seriously poisonous to people. But some creature eats them because they slowly disappear, but they just pick off the fruit and they leave that bright red stem behind. So they're, even after the fruit's been taken by a creature, animal, a bird, something, that there's color on that for a while yet in the fall. But here it is in full bloom. I'd get down there and give it a good sniff, but I'm too lazy right now. But it does smell very nice when you get close into it. White baneberry, also called doll's eye, because the fruit looks like a porcelain doll's eye. That's where it got its name. And here's a third fern for the day. This is Maidenhair Fern, this very delicate fern. I like all ferns, but it might be my favorite. These very, almost fragile looking fronds with these black stems. And it looks like it would be very delicate and hard to grow. It is not. This is a tough plant. We have some growing at the clearing right along the edge of gravel roads, almost in pure gravel. And they've been there for years. This is on the path to the schoolhouse, and I think this patch of Maidenhair Fern has been drawn and photographed and painted more than most plants at the clearing. It's very popular with our art students and our photography students. I can't do this in spring without talking about Trillium, the plant of threes, 3 petals, 3 sepals, these green things behind the petals, those are called sepals, and 3 leaves. Pure white, and in some areas in Door County and even at the clearing, There are hundreds of them. And the petals will eventually fade to pink. Some of them at the clearing are pink already, so people assume we have two different species of Trillium, a white flowered one and a pink flowered one. In fact, they're the same plant, just the pink flowers are older. So you kind of get two seasons of color with our Trilliums. But everybody loves Trillium. This is actually a species that's called giant white Trillium.